Hello fellow crafters, this is Jane Fires. As you know, our company, Fun Stampers Journey, that I've been with for 4 years, has merged now with Spellbinders. And so now we can sell both Fun Stampers as well as Spellbinders as an affiliate. And so today I'm going to show you what we're going to use for our particular project. Everything that I'm using today is, however, Fun Stampers Journey, and everything can still be ordered through myself by going to my blog, which has now become my web page, or direct to Spellbinders, but you must click on my web page first for Spellbinders Fun Stampers Journey so that I would receive credit for it. This is the card that we're doing today. It's a Thanksgiving card. On the inside I have put Happy Thanksgiving, and then I did some pumpkins down below and I colored those in. So you can see the inside there, and I used my base, of course, which is white, which is our whipped cream. On the top side I used the Tangerine Fusion, and then I used Fall-O-Ween, which is the print behind it, and then of course again our whipped cream. So you'll see all of this as we go through here. Fun Stampers Journey Holidays small catalog is still available online, and you can still order from it. You'll find the catalog online as well as the products that are in the catalog listed on the new site. Then our big 2018-2019 catalog is still good and will be good until the end of June. Then the new one that we can use now are Spellbinders, and this happens to be the one that I have, 2018, and you can also order from it going through my website. The stamps that I'm using today is the AT that is Gather Together. It's a new one. Turkey Party, which is also a new one. And then, as I said, we're using our whipped cream, our Tangerine Fusion, and this is our Fall-O-Ween prints. And of course some of these are mainly for Halloween. Well, Halloween is over now, but if you turn them over, for example this one, if you turned it over you have the pretty background of the stripes. The candy one, somebody said, well, what can I use that for? Christmas. Christmas is coming and you always do candy at Christmas, so that could be used there. Or the back again has a neat back. So all these can be used even right now. Then two of the tools that I used were our paper trimmer and our scoreboard, and I've used both of these in our cards today. So let's begin. One of the other things that I used is our new Cozy Knit embossing folder, and this folder is really neat, and you can tell I've used it a lot on a lot of different cards and different colors, and when I do I usually cut more than one and emboss it, and then by doing that I just put them in my little packet. So I've already done ours, which is the Tangerine Fusion. And what I do is I cut my cardstock a little bigger than what my imprint of my embossing is going to be. And then I line up one side and the top with my cardstock that I've already cut. Then I run it through, and in this case I ran it through my Platinum 6, my small machine. You can also use the big Platinum one. Or any machine that you have that will handle a embossing folder. I run it through, and then when I'm done, on the right side and the bottom I trim it. I just find that a little bit easier to do. So this piece is ready to go. So now the next thing that I'm going to do is take my small piece of white, and I'm going to stamp my words on it for on the top. Now what I'm also going to do is I'm going to emboss this. And a lot of people have said to me, well, can you emboss with your Fusion ink? Yes, you can. All right, it's not as wet as pigment, but because it does have pigment in it, it can be embossed. So what I do is I get all my things ready to go. And then I take my stamp, I ink it up well with my Fusion blender, or my Fusion ink, which is a hybrid. It is a mixture of dye ink and pigment. I turn it over on my piece where I'm going to stamp, press it down so I have my impression where I want it. Immediately I take and put on my clear embossing powder. Then I simply knock off my excess powder that I do not want. I always take and pour back right away what I have left over on my coffee. And I use a coffee filter. I find it works very well for this. Okay, and then I'm going to take our heat tool. Okay, now you can see, I'm not sure how well it shows up, but here you can see it. It is all shiny, so that I know that I've heat set it enough so that my embossing powder has caused a shine to it. And as you're heat setting it, that's how you can tell. It'll be real shiny where your embossing powder was at. So now I'm taking my card base, which I folded in half, and I'm going to adhere this, my cozy knit piece, to it. Now when I adhere my embossed folder pieces to any cardstock, I always use my craft glue. Now the reason for doing this is, as you look at the back of your embossed piece, you're going to see little indentions. It's making you'll see all the little forms from where your embossing plate, in this case my cozy knit, where it has the little indentions. I want to make sure that I have glue in those, because I want to make sure this is going to stick. So as you can see, I've put glue all over. So now I'm going to turn it over and put it on the front of my card, centering it the way I want it. And our glue also will give you just a few seconds to adjust it if you don't quite like the way you have it on. And then press it down. And then my front piece is going to go in the middle of my embossed one. So again, on this one, I am going to glue it. Now on this one, you could also use the tape if you wanted to, and then just put a little bit of glue, but I'm just using all glue today. And then center it. Now I'm putting mine not quite in the center. I'm putting it a little more to the top than the bottom, and the reason for this is I'm going to put, and I should have done it already and I didn't, I'm going to put a piece of ribbon on. So let's see if I can lift off the edges, yes I can, of my cozy knit. Because what I want to do is I want to put this right there. So I'm going to take some of my white liner tape and run it right at the top of my piece of ribbon. And then trim off my excess. This is where my bloom tool would work, but I don't have it with me today. Now I'm putting this right at the bottom of where my piece is at, and then I'm simply going to tuck it in the back. Okay, so make sure I have that in the front where I want it. And I'm just not going to take any chances. I'm going to re-glue this part where I goofed at. And now I'm going to take my words, and I think I want to go around them a little bit with my hazelnut ink. So I'm just going to go around my edges here so that my edges will show up a little more when I put it on my decorative paper. And then I'm going to use our foam squares. to pop it up. And today I'm going to use a full foam square, the medium size one in all 4 of my corners, and also one in the very center. And I have to take my backing off. And there's the front of my card. Okay, so now I'm taking my Hazelnut Blend ink and I am inking up my words, which is of course Happy Thanksgiving, and I'm going to put those on the inside towards the top by where my fold is. Now that gives me plenty of room below if I wanted to write a note on here. And that's why I'm putting it towards the top. Then I'm taking my little pumpkin and I'm going to stamp my little pumpkin in the hazelnut and stamp it 3 times at the bottom of my card. Now I'm going to show you my first card that I made. And with my first card that I made, I used 2 of my Copic markers. Now I've not used my Copics in a long time. And so I didn't even think about it when I used my Copics. And by that I mean Copics are very strong. They're an alcohol ink and they have a tendency to bleed through your cardstock. Well, after I made this first card I realized, oh, that's right. And so what I've always done is I've always cut out what I've used with my Copics so that you couldn't see the bleed through part on the back side of your cards. But I forgot to do that. So I'll show you my card. I could, if I wanted to, cover it up on the back, but because it's my practice one, I'm just going to leave it. So on this one instead, because I don't want to have to cut these little pumpkins out and there's no die for these littler ones, I am using 2 of the Color Burst pencils from Fun Stampers. And the number that I'm using for the orange is number 11. And I like the pencils because they color very nicely. They are an oil base, so if you want to blend them, you can either use Gamma-Cell or I use baby oil. And I've showed you that in several of my other videos. But in this one, I just like the way they look this way, so I'm not even going to blend them. And then for my stem, I'm using the green, which is number 21. And so this gives me just a little bit of color on the inside, as you can see. So now here is the one I used my Copic markers on, and here's the one I used our colored pencils on. But now watch when I turn them over. This one was with the colored pencils and it's fine on the back. But then when I turn the other one over, you can see the Copics have started to bleed through. So if you're going to use Copics on a card, I would suggest that you do it and then pop them up or glue them down, either one, but don't color direct on the cardstock, because if you do, it is going to bleed through wherever you're doing it. The other thing with these, of course, I could have done would have been to cut them out, or I could have done just a fancy little strip of paper back here, of cardstock of some kind, and then put them on there. But I wanted to let you know that, because some of you use Copics and some of you have just started getting your Copics, so that's just a little added side for you. So there are both of the cards. You can see they're the very same thing, side by side. They're a quick card to make, and they're a nice card to do for Thanksgiving. Our words on these 2 cards both say, gather together, give thanks, and eat pie, because you know at Thanksgiving time you usually eat some kind of pie. If you have any questions, you can get a hold of me in 2 ways. One is by going to my website, which is www.janies.angelhugs.com, or emailing me, which is Serif, my last name backwards, S like in Sam, ERIF1 @AOL.com. If you have any questions, just let me know. Have a great and blessed day.